So the Mental Wellness Society is a network of professionals, of science, academy, practitioners. We got together to improve functionality by enhancing well-being on cognition, well-being on resilience. This was 2 years ago. We already spoke about resilience 2 years ago. And now it's really what everybody is talking about. We have 5 groups of members. And tonight we will have mostly 2 groups of our members, which will be psychology, and it will be also health and wellness professional, even though many of us are also involved in research. Today, the Mental Wellness Society reached 15,000 members. Actually, we are growing at 1,000 new members per month. So I guess we are doing something right. And we are in 74 countries. So we started when COVID started, because we came with the realization that we needed to do something to meet and to be able to have a global perspective. And we help to prevent suicide, particularly of MDs, and burnout of first responders. After that, we were already ready when the war in Ukraine started, and we start with a task force in Ukraine where we did a lot of activity, but mainly we helped to train psychologists, because actually, and we see the same situation in Israel, if the providers are not help to resist the pressure, the mental and physical pressure, automatically they cannot help the population. So our goal is to help to our colleagues who are providers. And we have learned a lot of things from Ukraine that we applied now with Israel, for Israel.
4 things that can damage your mental health. You may want to save this video for later. 1, negative self-talk. Our minds are powerful, and the words we say to ourselves matter. Negative self-talk can create a storm of self-doubt and anxiety. Replace self-criticism with self-compassion. Treat yourself as kindly as you would a friend. Remember, you are deserving of love and positivity. 2, comparing yourself. In the era of social media, comparing ourselves to others has become almost second nature. But remember, everyone's journey is unique. Focus on your own progress and growth. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, and use others' success as inspiration rather than a yardstick for your worth. 3, unhealthy lifestyle. Our mind and body are closely connected. Poor eating habits, lack of exercise, and insufficient sleep can impact our mental health. Prioritize self-care by nourishing your body with nutritious food, engaging in regular physical activity, and ensuring you get enough rest. 4, holding on to grudges. Holding on to grudges and harboring resentment can create a toxic environment within us. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning the actions of others. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of negativity. Release the past to make space for positivity. Remember, your mind is like a garden. Nurture it with positivity, kindness, and self-awareness.
So this is encapsulating a little bit what we will be speaking tonight, but they are the main guidelines. You will be able to see the replay of tonight and also the PowerPoint, so everything will be made available. But the key element is resilience, is not to feel as a victim, and not to try to resist, but to adapt. And this is something very important, because it's the concept of resilience is to adapt, to rebound, and live another way after that. But that's what human can do. So our task force Israel, on our meeting tonight, is not, tonight it's a general overview. We have 6 speakers, presenters, which is quite a lot in one event, but it's to give you a flavor to understand how much it is important to have what I call a poly-intervention, because we realized in Ukraine, and even though now more in Israel, that one modality is not enough. Just psychology, just to talk, not enough. Trauma technique with psychology, not enough. And we realized that we needed to put more different modality together to get a result. And that's what we are trying to achieve. So we are not trying to promote one of the presenter more than another one. In fact, we want to show, and that every presenter will be able to confirm you, together we have been able to achieve much more than we have been doing individually. We built a toolbox and we have been able to push the envelope and to access technology which will never be available if we were alone. So tonight we have Dr. Sherry Kelly, Dr. Donkin, Dr. Peck, Lisa Goldenthal from California, Scott from Nebraska, Sherek from Utah, Hillel Broad from Israel, and Dr. Shah from Tennessee. So you have, and Dr. Sherry is in Florida. So you have a good group of different places, and every one of them have a very specific specialty, and you will see how those tools are meshing together. We'll start with Dr. Donkin, please. Dr. Donkin.
Hello, Gerard, and nice to be here with you. And it's a pleasure to be amongst this great group of people that I look forward to working with at all times for our common goals, which is help people build mental and physical resilience. I first met Gerard almost a quarter century ago when he was president of Carnegie Mellon's Driver Training and Safety Institute, and I was an advisor for him and developed the health and wellness department within the Institute. We did groundbreaking research at that time, and we had 8-week modules to do training with truck drivers to develop best practices with them. We saw all kinds of people from with 4th grade education to PhD educations. We had 1 hour a day for 4 weeks, 40 hours. And in the health and wellness department, we were able to make pivotal shifts in people's mentality, as well as their physical capacity, as well as their mood, their attitude, and their ability to be resilient and socially engaged. All of this we find through the research that we'll be talking about today and in future sessions. So we developed 25 years ago a holistic approach to a multimodal, if you will, approach to learning and behavior. And in the health and wellness department, we also address such key issues as breathing, moving, eating, drinking, playing, praying, and sleeping. Now, we learned in Ukraine, as we applied these concepts to specific situations with people that were involved with direct trauma, and also many volunteers who went from the United States to Poland to provide relief in the refugee camps with secondary trauma. So there's a whole chain of events that happens with trauma from war. And we find a number of ways in order to intervene successfully. And that is when a person, for example, in their body is in a state of spasm and compensation, we have to work and find ways to unlock the spasms, unlock the compensations in order to get a breakthrough, in order to get a win. We can do this through the multimodal approach, or commonly called stacking. In this particular picture, we see I'm treating a patient with 2 devices. One is called the Resimax, which is at the back of the neck, that delivers vibration at a certain frequency that helps Gerard is pointing that out right now, that helps in many, many positive ways, particularly with the vagus nerve. And the other part was in this lady's ears is called a baud BPM, which delivers sound at the same time that we're doing, in this case, the Resimax, in order to create a situation that we break the cycle of the trauma that the person is experiencing mentally and physically. And then we can also, once a person has broke through the collective cycle of trauma, then we can also talk with them about how to think in ways that are resilient to them so that they can not only get over their major issues, but also help them move on with other aspects of their life. Now, when we go back to the particular aspects of like eating and breathing and sleeping, one little thing can make a big difference. Like, for example, when we were explaining certain activities like sleeping is a very big issue for people that are in acute war trauma, like is happening in Israel. And so we combine a number of thoughts about sleeping in order to break through the cycle so that they can start to sleep better, in which they can start to do other things better. One thing that I will do, and we'll explain more of this in the many programs that are yet to come, but for sleeping, for example, many people in trauma and in stress will sleep like this, with their fists together, their elbows together, and sleep in a fetal position. Now, I know from working with the people in Ukraine, for example, if I just help them learn to open up their arms and hands and straighten out their elbows, that can make a pivotal change in the beginning of sleeping better. So we go with one little thing first, opens the door to many other things as well. We also learned, for example, in people involved with direct and indirect aspects of war, eating is a big issue because people are stuck in the parasympathetic fight, flight, freeze mode. And what's important in eating and assimilation is rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic. So one of the things that even though in wartime, the quality of food, you don't have a lot of control over. But what a person does have control over is how their body can best assimilate what they eat. And we found that being present with the food, praying over the food, helps to reset the sympathetic and parasympathetic balance to be more in the rest and digest phase so that they're able to start to assimilate the food a little better and be in a less stressful situation what they do. And another thing is that is called the common senses of eating, and that is if you use your senses to help with eating, you can help with assimilation as well. So you can start to see that there are many aspects to each and every one of the daily activities that a person has within their control, even when so much around them they're out of control with. So they can do very important things, learn how to help themselves manage their self-talk, like what was mentioned before, and then also develop resilience for themselves so that they can move on beyond their immediate situation and have more of a resilient life, and then also to help those around them in their sphere of influence. Very, very important to help yourself so you can help others. Now, we have resources available that, for example, the role of posture in stress relief, the role of breathing in stress relief. All these are segments of techniques that combined together can help people build upon the most adverse situations so they and others around them can make it through and develop a healthier and more robust life, both now in extreme trauma and then after the trauma is over. Many times we find out when the person is extreme trauma, they have a cycle of behaviors and thoughts that keep them in the stress even when the stress is gone. And we'll find in many of these other speakers that there are additional ways to break through that cycle so that healing can begin and resilience can begin as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
All those videos are on the website. I will show you at the end of this meeting where you can find them. Dr. Sharek Peck, we have to hear about Resimax now.
Thank you. I'm delighted to share this little part that I have. I really enjoy working with Dr. Duncan and creating some of the protocols and things that can help so many people throughout the world. And to really kick off this, I want to talk about the brain. The amazing brain is just it's impossible that it just happened by chance. This is something that we were given by those who love us much more than we can understand and comprehend. And I love the brain because resiliency, and the ability to heal happens from right there. Now, if you'll click to my next slide for me. I do want you to realize that the brain is incredibly complex in its ability to comprehend so many things happening all at once and to make every little aspect of the nervous system function. It makes sure that your kidneys are online and that your adrenal glands are working properly, and the bladder and the bowel and everything else is pulling in the nutrients and taking care of the waste. So much goes on here. I'm not going to address it. I'm going to stick to something extremely simple. I want to talk to you about the trigeminal nerve and its role in keeping your nervous system from healing. You see that little set of nerves there to your side of your face, they're responsible for closing the mouth and for chewing and for moving the mouth side to side and for opening the mouth. All of these little things, as well as helping with your eyes and helping with all of the functions here at your face. Well, we find that those muscles that are controlled by the trigeminal nerve and the way that that nerve works itself, it's all about the fight or flight response, anger, frustration, fear. A lot is held within these muscles of the face. And we find that there's an opposite to that trigeminal nerve. That trigeminal nerve is absolutely critical to help you survive each day, but there's an opposite, and it's called the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve, its job is to help us to heal from all of the stresses of the day, all of the things that are happening. Its job is to go to every one of the organs and the bowel system and the stomach and the heart and the diaphragm. And that nerve is in charge of helping you heal and find happiness to live another day. It helps us decrease inflammation. It strengthens our memory. I want you to key in on this one. It helps you to breathe. We've already heard Dr. Meyer and Dr. Duncan talk about breathing as a very important component of healing. Well, the vagus nerve controls respiration. Just interesting that it also controls your heart rate. It's such a fascinating nerve. So if we can tie into it, it can really help the nervous system to heal. It inhibits depression. How important is that for all that the world is going through right now? Regulates that serotonin production. Go ahead to my next slide. One of the other important things about this is it is the driver of the gut-brain axis. We've heard about that. The brain is in charge of it all, but it gets a lot of messages from down here in the gut system that helps modulate or modify how we respond to life. Now, I want you to think about that vagus nerve and that trigeminal nerve as a balancing act. Trigeminal nerve, when it gets fired up, we have a lot of frustrations that don't let the vagus nerve and our breathing and everything function quite right. And in fact, that trigeminal nerve tells the brain, certain portions of it, to go offline or to shut down function so that survival is able to take precedence. So in our world, we want to be able to improve the function of the vagus nerve. And there's one more point in that last slide that I think I really need to make, Dr. Meyer, if that's okay. If you can go back to that prior slide. Whoop. Your vocal cords. Your vocal cords are a direct branch of the vagus nerve. We can use that. Use our vocalization, use our intonation to help others to heal and to help keep ourselves from having our brain taken offline as we go through trauma and struggle. Okay, next one. So we put together a little research a couple of years ago that was quite fun. And we found that if we put pressure or vibrational energy on the back of the neck and above the eyes and the eyebrows, and also inside the mouth where it could work against those masseter muscles that the trigeminal nerve fires up, we found that just with 3 minutes of activity, we took an area, the jaw muscles, that were all clamped up most of the time, and we took away the trigger points within them. We essentially de-stressed the nervous system by taking pressure off the back of the neck, the jaw muscles, and then top of the eyes. This is really mind-blowing, extremely amazing. But if you click forward to our next few research things, we have just concluded a couple of really groundbreaking scientific validation studies. One was in headaches and the second one in dysmenorrhea. We're looking at all aspects of how the nervous system works and seeing that there is a significant therapeutic benefit by placing vibration at the right level on these points and asking a person to do a simple task. We ask them to hum while the vibration is hitting those points. The humming slows down the breathing, puts their nervous system into a calming state, and the vibrational resonance of their vocal cords meshes with the vibration of our device to create a song for their central nervous system. So from there, it's just a matter of us taking our little device and placing it on points like the slide that you just saw, where we're hitting points underneath the jaw. These are where the openers are. They're not so much into the clenching response, or can hit the points up here above the eyes. These techniques are just very simple, but here's the bottom line. If you will, working with your clients, if you're a practitioner, if you will teach them to stick their tongue between their teeth, just barely, and hum, it takes 13 seconds and not much more to activate the vagus nerve and to begin its process of healing. So humming, gargling, pardon me 1 second while I turn that off. Gargling, activating the gag reflex, biting down on the tongue gently. These are all things that can be done even without our device. It just speeds it up tremendously to have something to teach the nervous system to tune to. But vibration is an incredible source for calming the central nervous system. We'll talk a lot more about that on future episodes. I'll turn my time to Dr. Kelly.
Thank you. The second study for people who are not specialists is in fact for menstrual pain, because it was explained in scientific terms. So we are talking about headache and menstrual pain and other problems that we are studying as a Mental Wellness Society. Dr. Kelly, it's your turn.
Thank you so much, Dr. Meyer, for inviting me to be with these wonderful colleagues and for everyone watching today. I'm going to shift now to the mind, mostly the mind axis of it. And the key takeaways as a psychologist and as a neuropsychologist is considering when you're going through trauma or crisis, give yourself permission to be human. It's okay to be afraid. It's also okay to understand that you can be just a parent if you need to be, a child if you need to be. Understand, though, that this is temporary. And just by thinking about that this is temporary, it can help you move forward through a difficult time. When you hear words in the media, such as crisis, war, pandemic, these are words that are frightening. They can trigger you. They can trigger past traumas. They can trigger past losses. And this is why we get into a mode of needing to take action. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. One of the things that's really helpful, especially if you're a parent, is to monitor and limit the media or internet exposure that your family is exposed to. Keep in mind also that it's hard for kids especially, but for all of us to understand an unseen or an invisible threat. If you're hearing about something that's going on half a world away, or in the case of the pandemic, when it was a virus and it was hard to visualize what that is, it was hard for kids especially to understand what that threat is. Remember, again, if you're a parent or grandparent, that the most important thing you can do to help someone go through a crisis is a good attitude. More than your words. People will attune into your attitude and pick up on your attitude more than anything you can say. Cognitive reframing is something that is very important in your well-being and your ability to become resilient. We are going to talk to you today about some keys for reframing how you think so you can change the way you feel and then change the way you act. Let's start with understanding the resilience matrix. So resilience is more than just one construct. Research, and this is through meta-analyses of multiple research studies, has found that resilience is really a matrix. It involves these 4 pillars: coping, yes, your ability to cope with a stressful event, but also emotional intelligence that brings you optimism and hope that things can get better. It also goes with your sense of agency, that you have the power to make things better or to go through it. Tuning into your feelings is part of that. The third element of resilience is grit. And that is, yes, it's an American word, but it basically means your ability to stick with it, not give up, to have some tenacity. And the fourth pillar is finding meaning and purpose in what you're going through. Assigning meaning and purpose if you can't find it. So resilience research has been moving towards this multi-system theory. It is a theory that works in disaster risk reduction and resilience promotion. We understand that resilience is dynamic, fluid, and multifaceted. And as Dr. Barbara Fredrickson from University of North Carolina says, it's the broaden and build theory of resilience. You build on each experience of resilience and you get stronger and stronger. It's like an emotional immune system also. You keep getting stronger and stronger and better able to fight the stressors and the crises in your life. One thing I want to make clear, however, I am not promoting toxic positivity. Managing emotions is not the same thing as denying emotions. We don't want you to deny your emotions. We're here today because we want to promote emotional intelligence. What we're trying to do is help you manage those emotions better. Next. So one of the things that really does help with resilience is a sense of internal locus of control, that you have some control over your life, that you are able to enact change, make things happen, have agency in your life. One of the things that Dr. Meyer and I have talked about happening during COVID, for example, people lost that sense of internal locus of control. Things were taken from them. Their lives had less control. They were told even how far to stand apart from each other, how to breathe, where they could go, where they could not go. That impacts your ability to cope, that impacts your self-confidence, your agency, and also impacts mood. So the greater your sense of being able to act upon the world and your ability to have control is going to help you be resilient. One of the things that keeps people away or out of having that sense of internal locus of control is because their mind is focusing too much on the things they cannot control. And they're not taking enough action on the things you can control. And there are three main things that you can control in a crisis, especially, and those are your attitude, preparation, and your effort. Your brain wants you to take action. Anxiety gets fueled when you want to do something where you feel you need to take action, but don't take action or don't see a way to take action. Okay? You have to accept that you're in the middle of a crisis.
1 minute.
Okay? Yeah.
One
Thank
more
you.
minute.
So you're in a crisis. One of the ways that you want to take action is to know where you're going. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. Okay? Ask yourself these questions when you're in a crisis. What about the times you were stressed before, or you were in a crisis before? Yes, your body has all these reactions, right? The body has the reactions, the hormones get turbocharged. But in those times in the past, how did you cope? Which strengths did you use? How did you face your fears? What actions did you take? That's the first way to get yourself out of being frozen and into action. Next slide. So remember that your brain wants you to do something about the fear you're feeling or the incapacity you're feeling. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine, yes, so it's going to see patterns and things that may have happened before. It's going to have a negative default process or mode that's to help you survive. And if you change how you're thinking about things from the problem focus into the solutions focus, finding the solutions, finding options, you're going to be better prepared to move forward with resilience. So remember that adversity is not an invitation to be helpless. Know what your emotions are alerting you to, because emotions are like an alarm system. Ask yourself, not why am I feeling afraid, not why am I feeling angry. Ask yourself what? What is this anger telling me? What is this fear alerting me to? And that is how you can move to the next what. What can I do about it? What might make me feel better? What control or options or choices do I have? Remember, if you don't see a choice, you won't have a chance. So you have to look for choices that might not even be there. So these are the key takeaway. And one of the things I want to just close with is from Dr. Viktor Frankl. Do not let any circumstance determine who and what you are. Next.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kelly. So now we have Dr. Edelbrod.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Meyer. It's a privilege to follow on from Sherry, sorry. And my presentation tonight blends really nicely with, I think, all of the presentations. The title is Evoke Somatic Movement, ESM, Blending Iconic Cognitive Imaging and Moving with Awareness. So ESM, or Evoke Somatic Movement, is a new paradigm that I've developed together with Dr. Meyer. And as part of the Israeli Resilience Program, we're promoting weekly sessions, 30 minutes in English and in Hebrew, and in groups. But the ESM could also be individuals, and also it can be longer, up to 60 minutes, which I'm planning to promote also in the M3 Center in Lincoln. So next slide, please. So what is ESM in a nutshell? It's a cutting-edge embodied approach for improving cognition and optimal well-being. It basically integrates the mindful choice evoke psychology skills icons, which we've seen in the previous presentations, together with Feldenkrais method-based awareness through movement lessons. So mindful choice evoke is an iconic positive psychology method to live a better life by choice, not by accident, to think, feel, and act in ways that are purposeful and empowering. And the Feldenkrais method, which I'm a guild certified practitioner, is a singular somatic practice emphasizing moving with awareness as a key means of accessing and influencing neural function. So bringing together the mindful choice icons and the Feldenkrais lessons integrates top-down cognitive and bottom-up somatic processes, and thereby potentiates the potential of these two separate modalities to provide something at a greater level. So what are some of the evoked somatic movement principles? To move slowly, to move with less effort, to move with awareness, paying attention, and to breathe. So we've already heard about the importance of breathing, and it's through slowing down the movement, moving with awareness, which are also key elements of the evoke icons, which creates neural transformation and the possibility for change, for positive change. Next slide, please. So how does it work? So in the ASM lessons, I relate specific evoke coaching icons to particular movement lessons, themes, and patterns. So lessons can vary in terms of postures, movement, themes, and patterns, as I've said. And many of these movement lessons replicate ontogenetic and phylogenetic developmental patterns. So evolutionary species development patterns and also infant development patterns. And these lessons can be provided in a group form or individual coaching. So I'm not sure how many people are out there, but I invite you to just do a quick movement lesson. So come to the edge of your chair, if you will, and just notice how you're sitting, and very gently start moving your pelvis a little bit forward and a little bit backwards. And notice that as you bring your pelvis forwards, the arch of your lower back is extending. And as you bring your pelvis backwards, you're rounding your lower back. And notice what happens to your chin and your head as you do the movement. So as you're arching your lower back, your head is coming up and your chin is lifting. And as you're rounding your back, you are bringing your chin towards your chest. And also notice how your eyes are following the movement. So you can continue doing that movement by yourself. Just pay awareness to how you do the movement, not why, but again how. Notice what you do with your eyes, and notice your breathing, if you can do the movement with your breathing. So this is just a very, very basic, very, very important, however, core movement lesson, which you can continue doing by yourself later, if you will. But I'd invite you just to, Gerard, if you can move to the next slide, please.
I want to state here, because of the picture, it's very different of Pilates, it's very different of yoga, it's very specific because the movement does not control your thought, the thought controls your movement. And you control the movement, and by controlling the movement, you are in control and you connect your mind and your body. So I think it's something very important because the image we had could be misinterpreted as Pilates or other technique. This is very, very specific, and I can assure you it works well on our people. Yes, Dr.
Right. So we've been having very remarkable effects for working with clients with complex trauma, integrating particular movement lessons for regulating the autonomic nervous system together with the mindful choice coaching with the evoke icons. So it's something which is potentially very, 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 very effective and very interesting. And also to say that the lessons themselves are cognitive. It's not just the mindful choice psychology is cognitive and the movement lessons are somatic. No, the movement lessons themselves, as Dr. Mayer was saying, themselves have a strong cognitive component, particularly when you slow the movements down and you bring awareness. So here's an example just of a handful of evoke icons which one could relate to this very, very simple lesson we've done. For example, metacognition, the awareness of awareness, paying attention to how you do the movement, being in the here and the now, noticing how the movement you make are implicated with your ability to make a choice, as Dr. Sherry was saying. The ability to check in with yourself, to do your self-assessment continuously throughout the lesson, paying attention to the process, not to the outcome of the movement, and on and on. The destination, when you're doing a particular movement lesson, moving your pelvis forward, moving your pelvis backwards, how does that relate to your sense of your greater sense of purpose and destination, which is grounded in these very, 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 very basic human
1 minute.
movements. Okay. And there are many, many more icons which one could relate at an individual and a group level. So what are just some of the effects of the evoked somatic movement? Reduce anxiety, improve flexibility, increase strength, calm, regulate the autonomic nervous system. And just to say that there's very, very little research, if perhaps no research at all, looking at the integration of somatic movement and cognitive coaching. So in summary, these are weekly evoked somatic movement sessions for developing resilience. It's an innovative, integrative approach, accessible to everyone in Israel, but also internationally. And together, the enhanced effect of these lessons when integrated together with other modalities, as we've heard, especially the resonance therapeutics and healing music, which we're looking to do. And to emphasize, this is not an acute trauma intervention, but may help treat many psychological issues, including preventing PTSD. So movement is key in preventing PTSD. And I invite you to spread the word. Hopefully, we're going to be setting up these lessons very soon, and will be accessible to everyone. Thank you very much.
Dr. Shah.
Hey, sir, how are you?
Good,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today. I learned firsthand how to navigate through a dire crisis when I was 29 years old. My son was only 7 then. And by this time, I had already been dealing with diabetes for probably 13 years. I found myself in intensive care, and there they told my husband, if she has any family, now may be the time to call them. And it was that day I made a non-negotiable decision that I couldn't afford not to make. My only son had been laid in my arms when he was 22 days old. It was my best gift ever. And having him as my best gift, I had made a mindful choice that I was going to live and not die. If there was anything I could do about it, that was my choice. And I'm happy to report, do you know Joshua? He will be 44 next week. Here I sit, right here with him. So I am very grateful. And I tell you that story because it really influences how I work with people. It just doesn't help me build a rapport, but it helps me understand. It helps me understand them, and it helps me be able to give them the things I've learned along the way. So the first thing I do when working with a patient who's dealing with diabetes and is in the midst of a crisis, maybe it is a dire crisis, maybe it is chronic and they've been dealing with it, but I determine, are they working from a place of knowledge or is it understanding? Because if it's knowledge, first I teach. Because when you understand what it is that you're mindful about or what you need, you can recognize the task at hand, I hear. You can assess the situation. You can choose to the outcome you want. You can set the goals and you can work back to the objective. This group that I'm working with today, you guys have put them real pretty on your slides, and they're tools to help automate. These evoke icons. They simplify that process of understanding for me. I'm able to share them easier with other clinicians. And the patient, it's like aha moments when I grab these and work with them. And so I'm very, very grateful for them as well. But they're kind of like my cheat sheets, to be honest with you. I like them because it's sight and it's word. And then I don't have to keep everything in mind for everybody. I just have almost 100 things I can draw from that somebody else has done the work, and I'm ready just to apply them with my methodology and helping someone. Because if you're a diabetic and you have, excuse my language right there, I'm not defined, I'm not a diabetic. I deal with diabetes. And so I don't want anybody who deals with that to think I'm identifying you there, because we have lots more of us than that. But there are constant and chronic things that we deal with daily. Add to that a problem, and we have to navigate, and we have to navigate well. But my cheat sheets help me. As Charlotte, I'm pretty good at helping people find hope. Lots of methods, lots of ways to do that, but I'm pretty good at helping people find hope. As Dr. Shar, I've worked to formulate my methodology to reveal secrets that never should have been secrets for the patient with diabetes or the patient in a crisis, having difficulties for today or a pop-up emergency situation. So when you navigate a crisis within, you can steer those emotions through the toughest of storms. If you know from inside out, something outside can come in and you can stay at peace and calm. And if it's an emergency and you're not at peace and calm for the moment, you've been built to handle that, right? So it's important to know the difference in emergency stress and chronic stress as well. But feelings are good followers. They're just not good leaders. That's all. They help us. They've been given to us, and we can use them and use them wisely, and use them instead of being afraid of them or trying to numb them down. You can't numb one down, not numb another. So we might as well learn how to utilize them to our good and what they're there for. And if it's anger, we need to use it well, but it's helpful sometimes. If it's sadness, sometimes it's appropriate. And if you're sad, that means you can have empathy on the other hand. So emotions are great followers, and they're there for you. They're there for the patient.
1 more minute.
Habits work until they don't. Motivation comes in waves. Willpower has a battery life. Whereas changing or reframing beliefs or decisions, learning that you're the boss of you, and then transforming through practice of thoughts, feelings, and words, that automates the behaviors and the actions you desire, especially in a crisis time. And I'm thankful to be able to work with this group in order to do that.
Thank you so much. Lisa.
Thank you, Dr. Abe. Thank you, all of you guys. I would love to build upon all of the things you guys have already talked about with resilience and grit. Title of my talk today is going to be Owning Your Bounce Back, How to Be Anti-Fragile in a Chaotic World. And since I haven't prepared any slides, I'm over here traveling. I want to talk about building on the choice card and the red door, green door card, which I love. And my heart, first of all, goes out to Israel in aftermath of the Hamas attacks. I know you're facing incredible challenges, but I also know that you're resilient. You've overcome hardships before, and you'll overcome them again. Today, I want to talk to you about anti-fragility, the red door, green door, the mindful choices. It's not just about bouncing back. It's about getting better because of the adversity. And I've had to do this many times in the last 3.5 years. It's only made me stronger. Just like a phoenix rising from the ashes, that's the essence of anti-fragility. We've all experienced setbacks, moments where we felt knocked flat. But the key to remember that resilience is not a superpower, it's a skill. It's something we can all learn. I've learned so much from Dr. Abe and this fantastic group here, and we can develop it. Not just becoming resilient, but anti-fragile, which is thriving in the face of chaos. So let's talk about why anti-fragility matters. We live in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Change is the only constant. Disruption is inevitable. So how do we navigate this ever-changing landscape? By cultivating anti-fragility, it is the key to not just surviving, but thriving in the face of uncertainty. Imagine, if you will, a tree bending in the wind, not breaking, but growing stronger. That's anti-fragility in action. We can be like that tree, adapting, learning, and becoming better than before, even when the world throws the worst at us. The BOSS method is the one that I teach, your anti-fragility blueprint. And how do we cultivate this invaluable skill? Here's the BOSS method. Number one, you're boosting your EQ with the tools we've discussed today. Develop emotional intelligence to connect with others, build trust, navigate challenges with empathy. This includes active listening, understanding nonverbal cues, and responding with compassion. Remember, when someone says something you don't like, pause, repeat back what was said to ensure understanding, and respond with a solution-oriented mindset, not just reaction. O from BOSS is optimize your energy, prioritize your physical and mental well-being. This is what's worked for me time and time again. Pandemic, moving, living with my husband for the first time in the last 3.5 years, losing some of my best clients because of COVID shutdowns. Here's what I do. I fuel my body with nutritious food, move it regularly. It's a non-breakable part of my day. Exercise, and I practice mindfulness techniques like meditation and yoga. Those two things, I get up early and do them every single day. Unbreakable commitments for me. And this helps me. A healthy mind and body are the foundation of anti-fragility. Two more things we're going to go over. S is for shifting your mindset. You want to embrace a growth mindset. See challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, recognize them as stepping stones on your journey. So this is all about choice and a red door and a green door. Imagine you have a green door where you can affect the outcome, as Dr. Sherry has discussed, and Dr. Shar, and all of you wonderful people here. And then that's going to get you the outcome you want. And the red door is just going to keep you stuck in tunnel vision effect on the problem. And that's the red door. So you have a choice. You want to choose a green door. You want to be solution focused. So that's shifting your mindset, embracing a growth mindset, and seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow instead of viewing setbacks as failures. And the final S in my BOSS system is sustained success. And how do I do that? I surround myself with positive people who support me. They support my goals, and I set realistic goals and hold myself accountable. Accountability is a huge part of my coaching. I hold people to the highest level of accountability to their vision, to do the things they said they were going to do, to accomplish what they want for the reasons they said matter. And that's the what. So you sustain success. I've faced my own setbacks, like I mentioned, like losing the best client due to COVID. It was a difficult time. but I use the boss method to overcome it by boosting my EQ, staying connected to my network, optimizing my energy through self-care, shifting my mindset to see the opportunity in the challenge, and surrounding myself with supportive people like all of these wonderful humans here. And I hope to someday meet all of you in person. I have emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before, and that's how I did it. You too can become anti-fragile, start implementing the boss method today, embrace the inevitable challenges, see them as opportunities for growth, to use them to become better versions of yourselves. Remember, the most breathtaking views often come after the toughest climb. So let's embark on this journey together, building our anti-fragility and thriving in a world that demands it. Together, we can rise above any challenge and create a brighter future for ourselves and our communities.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And I
Thanks,
know that
Dr.
you are a fighter, and I know that you are very resilient. And
Thank
I really appreciate what you have been saying, because in a nutshell, in few minutes, you have been able to make an abstract of all the lessons we have been teaching. So it's great. So one of the tools we have, we spoke about it, is the iconic card, because icon is a better communication than words. People remember an image. But we have a special cocktail that we are using, in particular here in Israel, with Mind Evoke, the cards, resonance therapeutic with the Resimax, and board, which is binaural pulse, binaural pulse modulator, and it really helps the people. And we have found, in addition to evoke somatic movement, that people with very, very, very severe trauma can be helped very quickly. I don't know, Celeste, but maybe you can give my image back, or is there a way to? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Right. Yeah.
Or I need to start again?
I think you're presenting right now.
Yeah, I was. So we are talking about the evoke card, which we have been talking about, because an image, an icon, because the icon represents situation, are speaking more than words. So particularly in Israel, or with people which have a serious trauma, we are using evoke positive psychology intervention. We are using resonance therapeutic, which is Resimax, and we are using also board, which is a system which is helping binaural pulse modulator. And we have amazing result. And we had some clients which had a very, very severe case of trauma, which have been, I would say, repaired in a few weeks, in addition with evoke somatic movement. This cocktail is proving two things. One, polymodal is a solution, because we are attacking through different ways. And yes, we are stabilizing the person, using the vagal nerve, using the restoring the homeostatic system, and then we can talk and help them to change by positive psychology, to prevent not to come back to where they were before. I need to say that in Israel, with the task force, we have received a donation from Resimax to help Israel. So we have a certain number of equipment that we will be using, part for the army, part for different population in a more distraught situation. And we will be using it. We also receive healing music. And the healing music is something very important, And if you go in the website, which I will show you now, you are able to download those musics on your cell phone. So you go here and you go on Meet the Expert and you go to our website. You go to, by the way, our organization have an Arabic channel and our website is translated also in Arabic. So we are not just helping people who speak Hebrew or English in Israel. We also help people who speak Arabic. So you go here to download, you enter your name, and then you download the alpha wave to relax, to remove anxiety, and to remove anxiety and stress. Then, before going to sleep, you listen to Delta Sleep System. It's a third app that you download, and it helps to sleep better, much better. And when you wake up, you use the Awaken Mind system, and that helps you to be more focused and to wake up better. If you are part of the Mental Wellness Society, if you go on our website, you can download it for free, and it is free for everybody in Israel. Dr. Jeffrey Thompson made a commitment to help Israel, and we are looking to show that we have the possibility in Israel to use technology and science in order to be able to help, because we are a small country, and everybody knows a soldier, everybody knows somebody would die, everybody knows somebody who have been an hostage. We're only 9 million people, and all the people who are in the army are young people who are 19, 20, 21 years old. So it affects the families. So all those things help not only for the soldier, but also for the families, for the friends, and the trauma is bigger for the family in America than it is in Israel, because we see that the people who are distant have more trauma than the people who are here, because they are more worried and they produce more serotonin, which is the hormone for stress and anxiety. So you have a lot of ebooks, you have crisis-like guidelines in different language. You have a lot of resource where you can go there in different language, and you can find ways to help people. We give away everything. The task force is free, and we all volunteer to help people and other organizations. So this is something we are very happy to do in Israel. And now I will come back to my PowerPoint. Now we are at, so I want you to know, this is the beginning of a series. It's Mind and Body. We will have specialty program for education parenting. We'll have program in Arabic. We already have many programs in Spanish. We have program for crisis intervention. You have seen we have 10 different channels. And everybody can join, everybody can volunteer, everybody can help, everybody can take whatever you want on our website. Start this video program will be is recorded, and it will be starting tomorrow to be played on the website again, and there will be more and more events, and we want you to be involved. Is there anybody who have any question? I have not been able to see the Celeste. I have not been able to see the chat discussion. It did not light up, so I don't know if there was any chat. Is there anybody who would like to speak? I don't know how you make them speak with this system.
Well, they just raise hand. There's an icon at the bottom of their screen. If ever they want to ask
So,
questions, I can.
Anybody wants any question? We have any question from anybody?
Or
Well,
yeah.
Any of the presenter wants to say something, and then we'll conclude. Dr. Sherry.
I just want to say thank you so much to all of my colleagues today and sharing your, just your wealth of knowledge and your experience and your insights. It's been so helpful to just really see this multimodal approach to emotional wellness, overall emotional wellness and health and well-being and resilience.
Thank you. Hillel?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Mayer. It's just a privilege to also to be able to present on this platform and to be in developing programs together that can help so many people this time of need and crisis.
Thank you. Dr. Shah, all your clients can have access to those healing music, and there will be more coming, but they can start already with the 3 healing music that you can download. So it's available to all of your friends and clients.
Thank you.
I just want to close saying that what happened in Israel is a combined effect, which started with a precondition, because we live in a VUCA world, which is a world, as Lisa said, of vulnerability, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and hyperconnectivity. Being too much looking at fake news is affecting our moral and our well-being. We cannot sleep after that. So Reswell is an initiative by the University of Tel Aviv with over 50 researchers in 18 countries. And a group there created a VUCA group that I have been honored to lead. And this VUCA group will be monitoring the situation in Israel and will be validating, monitoring, measuring everything we do in order to be able to show how it could be used in other places, in other countries worldwide. And one of the things which is extremely new is the use of healing music, resonance therapeutic, the iconic communication, and evoke somatic movement. This cocktail have an amazing result, and we want to be able to show and share to the world that science and technology is certainly a way to address a problem in our society, because VUCA was a precondition before the war in Israel. Everybody was already stressed by the level of life. We just have to do with one war we did not want it, but it is what it is, and with the support of everybody, with your good wishes, and with the help of God, we'll get through this situation. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you another evening. Thank you.